Tonight on the O'Reilly Factor, we're looking at Barney Frank and his views on Medicare.
And this is concerned about health care. If we had not gone to war in Iraq, we would not now be worried about where to find the money for health care.
It was 1965. President Johnson had been elected in a landslide. He made Medicare, hospital coverage for the elderly, a top priority.
I'll spend the goddamn money. I may cut back some tanks, but not on health. My health program yesterday runs $300 million. But the fools had to go to projecting it down the road 5 or 6 years. And when you project it the first year, it runs $900 million. But the first thing Dick Russell comes running in and say, my God, you've got $1 billion program for next year on health, therefore I'm against any of it now. Do you follow me?
Right.
Now, we don't want to stir up any more hornets, and we have to. Companies, they still raising hell, man?
Yes, I think they're going to go over to the Senate and raise hell on the thing, because quite frankly, there's no longer any room for the private insurance companies to sell insurance policies for people over 65 when you take the combination of hospital care and the physician service.
Yeah, okay. Now, I think that's wonderful.
With Johnson's near-daily involvement from start to finish, Medicare was passed and signed into law a little more than 6 months after his inauguration, July 30th, 1965.
Caution! You are about to enter the no spin zone. The factor begins right now. Programs for the elderly, such as Social Security and Medicare, are bankrupt. The median age in the United States is higher than ever. The number of people in the United States 65 and over, those covered by Medicare, will double over the next 25 years. The federal government already has $13 trillion in debt. With an aging population, we just can't take it anymore. Those programs need to face serious cuts. And if you don't agree with me, then you're a fascist and not an American. I've said it before. Some Americans want bad things to happen to this country. And if you're helping the elderly, then you're part of that group. Now with us here is Barney Frank, a Democrat from Massachusetts and a supporter of Medicare.
Oh, yes. It's Bill O'Reilly. It's an honor to be here.
Now Barney,
Hey.
We know the system is bankrupt. We have a deficit. We have debt. Can't you see that cuts need to be made?
In 2004, Federal Reserve Chairman Alan Greenspan argued that if Bush tax cuts were enacted, the federal government would have too much money by 2010.
That may not be true.
Now, we supposedly don't have enough. You
Listen.
can't have it in both ways.
How can you blame it on the Bush tax cuts? Bush was the greatest president we've ever had. And if we didn't have those cuts, we would have entered a depression. Come on, Barney, you know that.
The reason we have this problem in the first place is because of the Bush tax cuts. If the taxes were the same as they were during the Clinton administration, and we were never in the Iraq War, we wouldn't have this problem.
Listen, Barney, you're making this about the Iraq War. This is a no-spin zone. Don't get off topic. Barney, every good American knows the elderly can fend for themselves. They don't actually need those expensive drugs.
That's
There
ridiculous.
are 4 parts to Medicare. Medicare Part A helps pay for hospital visits. Then there's Medicare Part B, the supplementary medical insurance program, which covers doctor's visits, home health care, preventive services. Then we have Part D, which covers prescription drugs. This is simply too much. I know every time I go to the hospital to get cancer cells removed from tanning too much, I pay for it.
Bill, you're being insensitive. We need this kind of moral commitment to Medicare. The elderly just need our support.
That may or may not be true. And we all know that we could fix this problem if people just plan for their own retirement and plan for medication that they'll have to pay for. I can do it. Why can't they?
People still have the right to plan for their own retirement.
You know,
But
Barney,
if a bank fails, or you get ripped off by people like Bernie Madoff,
that may or may not be true.
we need the government to provide this safety.
That may or may not be true. Listen, that may or may not be true. All I know is a couple years down the road, we're going to end up like Germany, carrying wheelbarrows of money around, like to buy a freaking loaf of bread. If you take less money in than you put out, the system collapses.
Bill, what you were trying to do is fear-mongering. You were trying to scare the people into thinking we are going to go bankrupt. But that's simply not the case.
Listen, Barney, you're just another case of the goody-two-shoe liberal who's going to save the world, and you're just part of the far-left agenda. We all know you're just a fascist trying to shove this stuff down our throat and get more power.
I was elected by the good people of Massachusetts, and I'm not going to sit here and be insulted by a fiend like you. I'm more civilized than that.
I'm not insulting you. I'm not insulting you. You're trying to get away with taking over the greatest country in the world. The far left is trying to do it. And you know America has never done anything wrong.
Is whenever anyone tries to
make
a good point, whenever anyone they're trying to make a good point, the only way they can get it across is if they act as boorish as you.
Alright, shut him off, shut him off, shut him off. I can't take this anymore. Alright, break to a commercial. Just so everyone knows, what Congressman Frank did there was real low class. I don't want to yell at him, but he made me yell at him. I had to yell at him in order to save the country from people like him. That's real low class. Now remember, you can email me at O'Reilly@foxnews.com, and you can check out the Talking Points memo that you may have missed at foxnews.com. And remember, the spin stops here because we are looking out for you.
Execute Order 66.